1. Lonely shift. Ilya had been working as a night dispatcher in the emergency service for 15 years. In that time he had heard it all: hysterics, tragedies, empty threats. His face had long since lost its liveliness, and his voice was as flat and cold as frosted steel. In a small, stuffy office, papered with yellowed manuals, he spent his nights staring at screens and waiting for calls. His coworkers had long since changed jobs or retired, but he remained like furniture, like an old telephone receiver that smelled of plastic and something bitter. That night, it seemed nothing unusual was going to happen. Outside the window the snow was falling quietly, softly damping out the noise of the city. Ilya drank strong black tea, which barely had sugar in it, and flipped through the news feed on the old computer screen. But at 2:37 the phone rang, the light bulb flickered. He picked it up. Emergency services. Listening. A pause, then a whisper. 33rd call. You know what that means. The connection's been cut. No signal, no click, as if the call had never happened. 2. Repeating. Ilya reread the call log. Nothing, no number, no entry. He shrugged, writing it off as a glitch or someone's drunken prank. Such jokes happened. The next night he was back on shift, and again, empty, quiet, until 2:37. The phone rang at exactly that minute. He flinched. Emergency service. Same voice, but louder. 33rd call. You know what that means. Then a cry, a woman's. The sound of a siren? He hung up, but his hand was shaking. He looked at the screen and there was no call. Again, he tried to record what was happening, but the keypad was unresponsive for some reason. 3. Shouldn't exist. On the third night, he came in early, checked the equipment. Everything was fine. At 2:37, the phone rang again. He didn't want to pick up the phone, but he did so automatically. You're almost there, the voice whispered. It's less than you think. A silhouette flashed on the monitor screen as if someone was standing behind him. He turned around sharply. Empty. After that, Ilya started sleeping in the office. At home, he could hear the same voices, the same rustling behind the wall. He started drinking more and more often. His eyes became cloudy, his movements jerky, but every night he picked up the phone. 4. Mirror voice. On the 31st night, the voice changed. It was his voice now, recognizable, unmistakable, only haggard, as if he himself were shouting from some distant, black tunnel. Don't pick up the phone on 33. Don't do this, please. He was screaming, begging, and then the connection cut out, leaving only a nasty crackle in the speaker and an echo that sounded like footsteps in a tunnel. Ilya tried to shut down the equipment, it wouldn't respond. He broke the wiring, changed phones, cut the power. At 2:37, the call still rang. 5. The 33rd. The last night, he arrived at the office 2 hours before midnight. He sat in the dark, staring at one point. A bottle of vodka stood beside him, half drunk. The pipe lay in front of him like a trap. 2:37. The bell. It rang like a bell. He picked up the phone. There was silence on the other end. Hello? He squeezed it out. Suddenly, all the voices came at once. Whispers, howls, moans, his own voice, a woman's scream, the sound of a broken connection, crying. The receiver melted in his hand. The lights went out. Black smoke billowed out of the monitor. He heard footsteps. Someone was coming down the hall. Heavy, wet footsteps. When his coworkers came in for their shift, Ilya was gone. His chair swiveled slowly. The screen showed 33 missed calls. From the phone speaker came a quiet, endless hum. No one saw him again, but they say at 2:37 the old control room is still taking calls. If someone picks up the phone, you can hear him whispering, 33 calls. You know what that means. 1. Housewarming. Lena rented an apartment in the center of the city, an old house from the 1930s. Thick brick walls, creaky floors, peeling stucco on the ceiling. She wasn't deterred by the cracked radiators or the slow elevator with doors that closed with a death squeak. The price was too good to pass up. She worked as a freelance editor, spending a lot of time at home. Cozy and quiet was the main thing. The landlady, a gaunt old lady with eyes as if always looking through you, hurriedly handed over the keys and only said, "If you hear knocking, don't open. Just wait until morning." Then she left quickly, as if she was afraid to stay in the house after sundown. The apartment was on the 5th floor, and the bedroom windows faced the building across the street. Brick, dark, no light in the windows, and the curtains hung in shreds. Lena thought it must be vacant, and indeed, there was no one on the landing, and the neighbors only shrugged their shoulders. No one has lived there for a long time. 2. The window opposite. On the 4th night she awoke to a strange sensation. The time was 3:33. The room was dark, with only the dim light of a street lamp shining in from the street. Lena went to the window and froze. There was a faint light burning in the window of the house opposite, very faint, like a candle, and in the light was a silhouette, a human one. He stood, almost touching the glass, and stared right at her. She recoiled. Her heart started pounding. After a minute, she walked over again, checked. The lights were out. Darkness. The silhouette was gone. "Showing," she whispered. Sleepy imagination. But from that night on, Lena began to close the curtains. 3. He's getting closer. The silhouette started appearing every night, always at 3:33. At first, he just stood there. Then, on the 6th night, he raised his hand. He waved, like an old friend. Lena set her alarm to make sure it wasn't a dream. She got up early, sat in the chair by the window. 3:32, 3:33, and sure enough, a light, a figure, closer this time. I couldn't make out a face, just the eyes, like two black funnels. Lena shrieked and yanked the curtains. The next morning she asked a neighbor on the stairs, an old woman in a robe, who lives in the house across the street. The neighbor turned pale. No one has lived there for a long time, not since the girl disappeared. They say she used to look out the window every night, until they took her away. Taken away by who? Whoever's watching. 4. The house across the street. On the 11th night, Lena couldn't take it anymore. She decided to go to the house across the street. The entrance was boarded up, but the door yielded easily. Inside, dust, the smell of mold, emptiness. She climbed the stairs, feeling her footsteps echoing in the void. 5th floor, a room with a window that looked out onto her bedroom. Empty, only a layer of dust on the floor, and footprints. Her footprints, like she'd been here before. She came out in a panic, ran back to her apartment, slammed the door, and froze. There's a candle on the floor, burning, in her room, and in the reflection of the mirror, a silhouette, behind her back. He was standing there, right in the room. 5. 3:33. Lena tried to leave. She packed her things, but on the train she was woken up. She was screaming in her sleep. All she could see was the clock, 3:33, over and over again. No matter where she was, in a hotel, at a friend's house, at the train station at 3:33, she woke up and felt that he was near. A week later, she came back, had to finish it. She set up the cameras, left the lights on. At 3:33 she woke up, unable to move. The camera was blinking. She was in the lens, and behind her back, a face, pale, distorted, like the face of a dead man screaming silently. The tape cuts out. Neighbors called the police this morning. Apartments empty, no blood, no signs of a struggle. The only thing left is a cell phone on the floor. The screen's smashed, and the front camera is still on, shows a corner of the room. And in the shadows, something's moving,